everybody. Welcome to the Bert and Eb show. I'm Bert. This is Eb. We're just two kind of older dudes who love geek culture. So we're going to keep you up to date on the latest movies that we're watching, the best shows, comic books, movies, books. Who knows? We're going to cover it here. This is just going to be a show mostly about what we're into in the moment. So this week we are covering Godzilla versus King Kong, The Winter Soldier, up to episode 5. So if you haven't watched, spoiler warning, we're going to get into it. And then we're covering Nier Automata, which Eb is playing for the first time. So Eb, talk to me about what you felt about Godzilla versus King Kong.
So Godzilla versus King Kong. I'm not necessarily a big fan of big monster movies. It's not to say that I don't enjoy them. It's not to say that I don't watch them. So when it comes to monster movies, I definitely watch them, but it's not from a perspective of a passionate fan of knowing every Godzilla movie or even every King Kong movie, though I have seen probably most of them, though I may not remember that I've actually seen. Yeah. But this particular movie, I was entertained by, for sure. The fight scene on the carriers, on the ships, which was awesome, right?
God, it was amazing.
I haven't seen something like that in almost any kind of movie, really, when you get, those types of large creatures, duking it out. I would say overall from like I'm come from a film background, went to film school. So coming from, film background sense, definitely has, really high production value. Obviously, the special effects are off the charts. Nothing in that movie like jumped out at me that said, "Oh, dude, this is CG. This is shit CG." The CG was great. The special effects were awesome. None of the actors, bad acting, brought me out of the story. And sure, like there were some storylines that were kind of loose, and was it actually needed? The whole side story with the what's the actress's name? Brown?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yes. With her crew of people helping out on the side. Now, I have to say that the first time I watched this movie, I think I passed out about 30 minutes left to go. So Bert and I talked about this movie previously.
How do you fall asleep with that much time left to go in the movie? That's where it really ramps up.
That or I don't remember, but for sure I must have passed out. And I just couldn't remember why they were even in the movie, why her storyline even made an effect on the film. But then I went back and I watched the last 30 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, they spilled some coffee on an electric board, and it shorted out, Mecha Godzilla for like 2.5 seconds for the other dudes to get advantage. So they did have a point. Like, sure, it had nothing to do with their technical skills or anything they learned up to that point.
No.
It was more like, man, I need something to drink, and oops, oh, I guess we did something, yay! So come on, that was a little cheese, a little bit of cheese factor there.
They snuck their way into all these super top secret government facilities, and then it just coffee spill. Weird.
It's just a coffee spill, So, I mean, do you needed that storyline? That could be debated. But again, you're talking. This is not high art. This is not. You shouldn't be picking apart the story in a movie like this, because really, in the end, this movie is about how badass of a battle you're going to have between the different creatures that they chose to put in this film. And I have to say that the Mecha Godzilla was pretty freaking awesome, dude.
That was so cool.
That was super cool. And if there's any sequels, I definitely would like to see them delve into this whole, like, how did he become sentient? Like, is the energy that created him like a sentient energy, right? Because they gave him that energy and suddenly he's like, yo, dude, I don't need any of you anymore. Like, I'm my own person. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. but that's cool. I was into that, right? So I really would like to see that aspect explored of that whole universe if they continue making movies in the monster universe, which I'm assuming they are. So,
well, so my 2 cents on the movie here, and just a little background. I have seen every Godzilla movie. I own most of them. except for the super hard to find ones. I've always been super intrigued by like the kaiju genre. Um, so this movie was right in my wheelhouse. I saw the Matthew Broderick Godzilla opening night. That's regrettable. But then I saw Gareth Edwards. I saw his first part of this whole thing opening night. I saw the follow-up movie King of Monsters, which I love. Kong Skull Island. I don't know if you watched that, Ed, but it is like this weird dark comedy thing. Like John C. Riley just hams it up the entire time. It's amazing.
No, I have seen that, and I actually really do like that movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then now we're here, Godzilla versus King Kong, and for me, this movie just ticked every fucking box I wanted out of it. I mean, as a fan of this genre, I know what I'm getting, and I hope that someday, somebody will make a Batman Begins esque version of the monster movie where you really care about the characters and everything, and you get the full monster experience. But until that happens, I'll just watch giant monsters beat the shit out of each other. That's fine with me too. Like the genre is not broken. People who get mad at a movie like this are like, you go to Wendy's and you think you're getting a steak. Nah, man, you're getting Wendy's. It's delicious. It's not filling. Like it's just gonna be, it is what it is. As a longtime fan of the genre, I've come to expect that. The human element of it, obviously not great. Good actors,
Right.
Good actors. They didn't have much. They didn't have much to do.
Their job is to react to crazy shit going on. That's what their job is. Yeah.
I mean, these movies are set piece to set piece. That's how you navigate these. But I mean, overall, it was everything I wanted it to be. The Mechagodzilla reveal. I knew that it was going to be Mechagodzilla already because some internet sleuths paused frames in the trailers and found Mechagodzilla in there.
So why were you looking for those things? As someone who's a really big fan of the genre, why would you want to spoil it for yourself?
Oh, I hate spoilers. I wasn't looking to get spoiled, but if you like dive deep into like the Reddits and stuff, shit will just pop up and you're like, ah, man, I wish I didn't see that.
Well, but you were diving deep. You should know if you're diving deep, that's what you're going to find. There's no other reason to dive deep unless you're looking for shit that is not obvious, right? You did that to yourself. You knew deep down that you were trying to spoil it for yourself.
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit. That's fine. But for something like this, I can do that because I know I'm going to enjoy it no matter what. So it doesn't really matter if I spoil myself.
That's true. It's not like you didn't know that a Mechagodzilla existed in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then you brought up the Monsterverse, which is an interesting thing. So I guess King of Monsters flopped. Did you see that movie?
I don't think so.
Okay. I love that movie. It's got Ghidorah and Mothra. It's got like it hits all the Godzilla beats. Like, I don't know why it flopped. I mean, obviously the character part of it is bad, but as a monster movie, it is, to me, utterly successful. So that movie flopped really bad. Godzilla versus King Kong is actually doing really good numbers for being like the first movie back in theaters after COVID, and the streaming numbers are through the roof. We'll see if they continue the Monsterverse. This is supposed to be the last one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because the studio's like, we're not paying for this shit anymore. I'm just hoping the success of this movie can propel it forward because I think they're doing it well. Like America is finally starting to figure it out a little bit with these kind of movies, and there's a teaser kind of in King of Monsters where they're listing all the Titans, as they call them in these movies, and they list a couple of monsters who appeared in Pacific Rim. So imagine Godzilla Pacific Rim crossover, giant robots punching giant dinosaurs. I want it. I want it now. Take my money.
Or maybe the giants or Godzilla's helping them. You know what I mean? It could be that too. You know, some other alien thing that they're battling against.
So I hope it's not the last. Well, I know that Toho, which is the original studio in Japan that created Godzilla, has said that they are doing 4 or 5 Godzilla movies over the next like 10 years. And they're gonna do like modern takes on Godzilla. So very excited for that. I think the last Japanese Godzilla movie was Shin Godzilla. I don't know if you've ever seen it. That is actually the closest we've gotten to like doing the human element right and making an awesome Godzilla. So I definitely think you should watch that if you haven't seen it. I think you dig it.
When was that out? Has there been a Godzilla in space movie yet?
Yes.
Oh.
2016.
Oh man, super suit. All right.
So I don't know. You watch anime at all?
Not really. I mean, not that I haven't seen it, but I don't watch it on a any kind of basis.
Me neither. But there is an anime called Evangelion.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so that is kind of like the gold standard of anime. People are like, this is one of the best animes ever created. The director of that directed Shin Godzilla. So, and yes, Godzilla has been in space, and he fought Space Godzilla in the
what? That's awesome.
In the creatively titled Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
Wait, so did Space Godzilla come down to Earth, or did Earth Godzilla go out to space?
I'm gonna be 100% honest, and like I said, I've watched all of these movies. I don't remember this one very well. The other thing I know we've both been watching closely is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And you're caught up this week? You're up to episode 5?
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. I watched episode 5 yesterday. So, which I liked. It was a nice I liked episode 5. It was because it was like just kind of brought it down and like kind of solidified the characters' backgrounds and like their relationships. I think there's one part like maybe halfway through, I'm like, okay, come on, guys, like, do really where's the ass kicking, right? But then I calm myself down and I'm like, no, this is part of the story, and it actually I really enjoyed this last episode. So
me too. So 2 episodes ago was directed by the guy who directed John Wick.
Okay.
Which kind of explains the whole, they go to not remembering the name of the island they go to, but it's got the illegal casino and
the bad guy island.
Yeah, the bad guy island.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a bad guy island. So I thought that episode was really strong, and I thought the last episode, episode 4, was kind of meandering, and I didn't, it was fine, but it ended with a bang with John Walker, aka the New Cap, beating someone to death with his shield, which played a huge part in this episode. They really went deep with like a lot of the race stuff in this one. They visited Isaiah Bradley, who is a African American Vietnam vet, one of the first ones injected with the super soldier serum. And he, that line, they're just not going to give the shield to the black man. Like, with everything that's happening today, like, I don't know, this episode really just kind of resonated deeply. And I'm fucking stoked that they're going to, I'm pretty sure at the end of this, Sam, aka the Falcon, is going to have the shield and be our new Cap, which is in my opinion, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you could, I mean, the little cookie that they give you, or the Easter egg that they call them these days, is at the end of the episode where he's opening the case and the reaction on his face, right?
Yeah.
So if it was just the costume he normally has, if it's just, oh, look, I got my wings back, he wouldn't have that reaction. So I think I mean, but what is it? Is it going to be an amalgamation of a Captain America outfit with the Falcon outfit, right? Is it going to be red, white, and blue with wings?
Mm-hmm.
Or does he just have, a mechanized cap outfit? So that I'm interested. I'm definitely. I mean, that's obviously a cliffhanger right there. You're wondering what that's going to be. But
Yeah.
I definitely feel like him training with the shield and all the effort he was putting into with it. Obviously, he intends to use it, right? He intends to wield it.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe they're trying to trick you and thinking, oh, he is going to do this, but he still doesn't. But I kind of feel like it makes sense for him to pick up the shield, quote unquote, the moniker, because even with, like you said, the storyline that they went with in this last episode dealing with race relations, he still believes, he still has this hope that we all can become better than ourselves, we all can move forward and change, right?
Yeah.
So then that's the difference between him and Isaac. Is that the character's name?
Which one? The new Cap?
No, the guy who was originally injected with.
Oh, Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's from a different time in which he got super fucked on. Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be very hard for him to be. Yeah, dude, you could totally do this. Like, it's super believable that he would do everything in his power to dissuade the Falcon. And what's the Falcon's name? What's his Sam. To dissuade him from attempting to be Captain America. So no, I really liked it. I really liked Bucky and his relationship. How that
those two, their chemistry on screen it's pretty great, man. It's like one of those things that you can't force, you can't fake it. They just have it.
No, they do. Yeah, no, they have a great, but also just like how their characters are like working it out, right? Like they, although they have, like you say, chemistry, they're butting heads, and so it's really nice to see this, the arc of their relationship come together, because now they're like, okay, well, let's see more eye to eye and with more understanding, and I'd like to see Bucky less pissed off all the time and be more of a complete character and human being. So all that seemed to like encompass, and this was a longer episode than normal, right? This was like 50 minutes. They're typically not that long, right?
They're like 45 usually. Yeah, this one definitely they added a little bit to this one.
It's a bit longer than the typical episodes have been.
It's the penultimate one, because next week is just the last one. That's it.
Oh, there's only 6 episodes.
Only 6.
And this is a limited series, right? This is not going to have.
That's it.
It's not continuing. Yeah.
It's pretty much like a 6-hour movie. I feel like I think we need like 2 more episodes. We'll see how the next episode goes. Maybe the next episode is going to be 2 hours. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I feel like it's going to be at least an hour long. I can't feel like they can wrap. Obviously, they don't need to wrap everything up, because part of Marvel's idea with this is to transition back into the movie realm.
Yeah.
Right. So they could always wait for the next feature film to resolve any storylines that they feel need resolving. Right. So, which is great, which is a great idea, right? They don't have to totally wrap everything up, and Scarlet Witch was the same way. They didn't really totally wrap that up. Right. Like there's more going on with that story that we will obviously see at some point.
Yes.
In some other movie or even some other TV show, who knows, right? Like the Loki show looks like it's going to be awesome. Like,
oh my god,
for that looks great.
Well, and I was a bit skeptical about the Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus, because I was like, it's Disney and it's TV show format. I don't know, but I loved the Scarlet Witch show, and I'm loving Falcon and Winter Soldier. They just Marvel doesn't miss. They're just like they know exactly what they're doing, and they're just balling on everybody. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're. I mean, it's the string of success they've had is pretty phenomenal in terms of how they're presenting their stories,
Yeah.
right? Um, Again, like I think I've had this conversation with multiple people, and this is why it's kind of disappointing DC hasn't been able to reproduce
Yeah.
similarly, though they have, bottom line, yes, they've had great movies. Some of the Batman movies have been phenomenal, right? So I'm not saying all DC sucks, right? But when they bring in multiple DC characters together, like Justice League and all those other things, they just hasn't, it seems like to miss the mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with Marvel, and this again, it's the same with DC, they have literally 50 years, 60 years, 70 years of stories to cull from, right? Fully developed characters that they just need to, in the correct way, transition over. And these characters have interacted with each other in a multiverse, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, it's not like they have to make this shit up. The roadmap is there, right? And you put, great creators, and there's plenty of wonderful directors out there, great writers out there, great visuals, but and you just put the right team together and you're going to make a good movie. And so and they did the right way. They planned it out in advance, right? They planned the storyline in advance, that everything comes together and flows together. And I think that's a great idea. And Kevin Feige, right? Am I correct? Yeah. Has done a great job with helming that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and the TV shows are basically movie productions. These aren't sitcoms,
It's not cheap.
They're not cheap. Like we watch the Falcon Winter Soldier is like watching a movie. It's just in segments, right? I mean, the special effects are flawless. Like they're flawless. Like you just
they're shooting all around the world. It's it's not just on some backlot in Burbank or something. Like
they're shooting on location
around the world.
They're shooting on location around the world. They're not. And trust me, I've been on the back lot many times working, and it's once you've seen the New York, you don't know how many sitcoms you've seen that New York downtown, right? So many sitcoms, right? They just redress. We'll just redress this here, and no, they're obviously putting money in. The production value is phenomenal. So we can only hope that they keep up with it. I can't imagine why they wouldn't.
We're going to close today's episode with a little video game talk. Eb is not much of a gamer, mostly mobile games. I'm a big time gamer. I spend way too much time playing video games. So each week we're going to try to cover a video game. And this week, Eb has been playing Nier Automata, which is one of my favorite games of all time.
Well, lucky for me, we didn't discuss this, folks, by the way. We didn't discuss this beforehand. I just told him randomly, I have Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
And as Bert has, so kindly given you the information, that I'm not currently a gamer, right? I have been in the past, like people of or I'm a little older than Bert, but people of like growing up in the 80s and 90s, I was the first kid on my block to get a Nintendo. I was playing PC games before console games. I actually wanted to make video games coming out of high school. I went to college to be a programmer. I was big time. Video games was what I wanted to do with my life. So an earlier part of me was definitely a gamer. I think I stopped getting consoles religiously up in like maybe PlayStation 3 is when it just was like, okay, this is getting kind of crazy. And I had other things going on in my life. So I kind of fell off the video game bandwagon. But recently I bought an Xbox One. Maybe I should have waited for the Xbox X. It was just really spotty. I've been able to get one. And honestly, the price isn't much different. So maybe I'm kicking myself in the butt a little bit, but whatever. It's got a Blu-ray player. It's a great machine. And when I got that, I also coincidentally had gotten a new PC. It's really great value to get the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, right? It's like $10 a month, $15 a month.
Yeah.
And there's looks, as far as I could tell, a lot of different awesome games to choose from for both your PC and your Xbox. So so I've downloaded a couple for the PC. Titanfall 2 is one of the ones which we'll probably be talking about another time. But then down for the Xbox One, I got Nier Automata, which just looked weird, right? And I personally like hack and slash. I like RPG games. I also like hack and slash. Like, I don't like things that are like so complicated that I really have to like just spend so much time grinding for shit. You know, I played WoW for a long time and I loved WoW, but dude, like you spend hours mining for crap. You know, I'm like, hey guys, you want to hang out and like go mine for a while? You're like, yeah, you know, I mean,
we're doing Burning Mines on Friday, all right? 12-man raid. We're gonna get everybody. Get your Mountain Dew, man. We're doing it. Bring your shaman. We're ready to go.
Oh man, WoW days. But so this game is awesome. Like, and not, I mean, the special, you know, the graphics are amazing. But what really caught me about the game is the storyline. The storyline itself is just so I don't know, in the first like hour of playing the game, I had a really difficult time deciding which robots I should be smashing and which robots I shouldn't be smashing, because some of the robots were like, yo, peace and love, yo, like, and running away from you, right? And this guy, 2B, is it 2B? He's right next to me like, no, don't trust any robots, kill them all. It's just some weird thing that they're saying. And you're like, no, dude, obviously the robot doesn't want to die. So I was feeling in my heart like, this is wrong. Like, what I'm doing is wrong.
And how far are you into it at this point? So I don't want to spoil anything, because I've obviously I've beaten the game. I've done everything in that game. So I don't want to spoil anything. How far are you?
I appreciate that. Right now I'm all right, so I played yesterday or the day before yesterday for quite some time. I think I got to the point where she kills one of the two brothers. Right? So she kills one after finding 2B, like he was lost after that big ocean battle with that crazy that was crazy.
So cool.
That is such a cool battle, and it was really frustrating too, because the way and what's so great about this game is how it always shifts the angle of gameplay. Like it's not just like let's use WoW as an example. It's always the same in terms of this is your viewpoint and this is what you're always going to see, right? And battle's always going to be the same. But in this game, like, it shifts. Like, sometimes it's side scroller, sometimes it's you're flying and the camera's in a certain position that also makes your controls work differently. So it becomes very spatially disorienting a lot of times, especially that battle, because you're on these weird angles flying around these giant fucking energy things. And like, I had such the hardest time, like it was so hard.
One of my favorite things about that game, so the kind of spaceship shooter, those games are called bullet hell games.
Okay, awesome.
Things like R-Type, or why am I blanking here? But anyway, anytime you have like a spaceship and a shooter, and like, oh, you can upgrade to like a spread shot, or you have like a laser beam or something. Those games are called bullet hell, because as it gets harder, it is just a million projectiles on screen, and it is just how good you are at dodging those things. I love that genre personally. So Nier Automata has multiple moments of kind of that bullet hell. They shift from this top-down, cool kind of isometric RPG hack and slash, and then now all of a sudden you're playing like a bullet hell shooter, and like, oh shit, this is cool.
Super cool.
Yeah,
super cool.
So have you beaten the game once yet?
No. Okay, so I feel like since you've said that, it sounds like I'm near the end of the game, and I kind of feel like it seems like that's what's happening. Like, um, the other brother's still out there. He's out for revenge. All the machines are going haywire, right? The resistance camp got fucked on, you know. But of course, I cleared out the robots for them there. Um, so I feel like I'm close. It feels like it's close to the end, which makes me kind of sad because it's just like, okay, well, like I know you shake your head. I know we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
that if you beat it, then you actually play it again, but from the perspective of one of the other characters, right? Which makes sense in terms of like you trying to pick up loot boxes, but them telling you can't pick it up yet, or you trying to go to a certain place and they're telling you can't do this. So I'm assuming that once you play with another character, those are the loot boxes that you can get, or those are the places you can go to, because it's not meant for that character to go to, right? Maybe.
I will try to.
Is there more story or different story elements with different character perspective?
So I'll tell you this: the game has how many letters in the alphabet? 26, 24. The game has 24 endings.
Damn.
One for each letter of the alphabet. You probably have a couple. Anytime you die during different missions or whatever, prompts a different ending to the game. So,
I die so much.
yes, a weird thing that kind of turned a lot of people off from the game when it first came out was they beat it the first time, and they're like, oh, you know, that was a cool little thing. And then you play it the second time, and it seems samey. You go into a lot of you're starting from the beginning of the game, and they're like, why am I doing this? Just trust me that it all pays off. Just keep doing it. There's more to the story. You haven't even scratched the surface yet of what what story they're telling.
So I lose all my loot, is what you're saying. When I start all over again, all my loot is gone.
No. Well, God, it's been years. I think you'll still have all the same chips in the same chip configuration.
Oh, sweet.
And all your good armor and weapons and stuff. Yeah. And then more things will be unlocked as you go. Yeah, I don't think you start from ground zero. I don't believe so.
Oh, sweet. See, that's what's, and that's what was going in my mind as I'm feeling like it's getting closer to the end. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm only scratched because there's so many different chips, and I'm sure people who are listening probably know what I'm talking about. But a chip is what mods your character to give you heightened abilities.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them, and there's so many different ones that it just feels like, man, if I'm coming close to the end of the game, I feel like I'm not even close to like maxing out my potential in this part of it, or even like the combinations you could use, and maybe you need to use different combinations for different like bosses, like that I don't know, right? I've feeling like maybe that's true. Or even the weapons, like I've been having able to level up my weapons because you need so many materials to do it, right? So like right now I have like the big iron sword, the fucking giant thing that slows her down and is like really hard to swing, but it's so cool. It's so cool, right?
So cool. And her little robot that shoots people while you're I love that game.
Oh yeah, no, and the fact that you have a couple of different ones,
yeah,
that you can, you know, you can make them completely different depending on what the situation is, which I enjoy. Right, I have one who does the missiles, and I have another one that has the Gatling gun.
Yeah.
And right now they both have the same special. I'm more of since I'm a hack and slash player, I really like to bring it in melee.
Yeah.
When I can. So I do the one where she expands the bubble out and just annihilates everything in the bubble, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't used like the shields yet. I haven't used the hammer yet.
I think I used the bubble for like 90% of the game.
Yeah, the bubble's sweet, dude. Like, I mean,
fucking sweet.
I could definitely see how the shields could be used. Again, I guess that's more boss specific. A lot of bosses use a lot of ranged weaponry, and if you want to you don't want to have to try to dodge it all. Like, it might be good to have that,
Yeah.
So, but
Now, what really sold me on that game, that first fight in the opera house, and the robots are like putting on a production. I was like, oh shit, this is like, this video game is trying to be art. This is not just like hack and slash video game with like kind of fan servicey. Obviously, 2B's got a butt. If the camera follows her butt, like, you know. But I didn't know anything about the game, and I'm playing it. I'm like, oh, just a bunch of perverts play this game. I get it.
right.
But when I got to that scene, and that's when kind of like the emotional gravity of what they're doing really hit me. I was like, oh shit, this is like, this is really something.
Yeah, no, and that is like why I said in the beginning, to me, it's more the story. I mean, everything else is great and it's a fun game. And it challenges you a lot of different ways, especially if you've been playing video games for a long time. You've played a lot of different types of games, and this kind of like just jumbles them all together, which is great. But to me, it's more about the story, and there's a morality that's happening here. And it's a story that's even speaks to kind of what, our society is going through even today. So yeah, no, I mean, this game has a lot going for it. And I really appreciate it at a lot of different levels. Especially the one which we haven't talked about, the game where you get hacked, quote unquote hacked, where it turns into like basically an Atari version of Pong,
So cool.
It's crazy. Like you're immersed in this crazy 3D environment, and then bam, you're like, oh crap, like I played this like when I was 5, like,
yeah.
Like,
how do I do this?
No, yeah, exactly.
I'm excited that you're playing this. The only reason I'm hesitant to, so I don't know if you know this, but Nier is actually part of a series. The games aren't direct sequels to each other, much like a Final Fantasy or something, where there's a bunch of games in the series. They're loosely connected by various things. But yeah, Nier's been a game for a minute, and the new one is coming out, I think, on my birthday next week, which I have not played. It's a remake of the first Nier game, so I'm gonna jump into that. But
That's
I would
Nier Replicant.
Nier Replicant, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all you gotta say is Replicant to me, and I'm in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw the preview for that, and now look, I mean, it's much like this one, but they've, from what I've read about it, they've done a lot of retooling to the remaster, so it's going to be quite a bit different than the original game.
Yeah. So even if we talk about a different game next week, I'm going to do a weekly Nier check-in with you because I like I said, I fucking love that game. I think it's perfect. To me, that game's a 10 out of 10. Everything about it is great. And I can't wait for you to see where it goes, because there's going to be 1 week where you come on this and you're just like, oh.
Well, dude, I mean, we didn't talk about it, but there's a scene, I think most recently I was at, again, in the Opera House. But this time it was a Romeo and Juliet play that the robots were doing.
Yeah.
And they just all killed themselves. They,
Yep.
They were just like, oh, you're evil, so you should die, like,
yeah. And I remember playing that part and you're just like, what the fuck? What is this game? What is happening now?
So bizarre. But one of the greatest parts too is then talking to all the other robots in the audience to see what they have to say about the play that they just watched, So yeah, you can't just, this game isn't just for you to go and you guys, I'm sure you could just go and destroy everything and not talk to anybody. But if you're not talking to the NPCs in this game, you're definitely not getting, I really feel like you need to do that. Like you really need to talk to them to really get more of an idea of this world, and which is trippy as fuck and super interesting. So yeah.
One little non-spoiler type hint I will give you, along the lines of talking to the NPCs, every time you end up back in the Yorha ship, where you respawn or where your room is,
the bunker.
yeah, talk to those NPCs. They will give you some very interesting insight into who you are and why you're doing what you're doing.
Awesome.
All right, well, I think that's as good a point as any to end it.
Sounds good.
We'll be back
Thanks
next
for
week.
listening, everyone. Thanks for
Yeah.
listening.
We'll be back next week. We're obviously going to talk the last episode of Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm not sure what movies or video games we'll cover. We might go back into Nier. We might do some Titanfall. I'm going to try to watch Bloodshot this week, so maybe that'll be the movie we cover next week.
We can do Justice League. We've already watched Justice League. We should probably do Justice League.
Okay.
I know. I think we have varying opinions on it, so it'll be good. And if it goes by quickly, we can do Bloodshot as well.
Okay. I will watch Bloodshot this week regardless.
Okay.
In any event, if you've stuck around this long, thank you so much for listening, watching. You can drop a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. I'm Bert. This has been Eb. We love you guys. Go watch some cool shit this week. See ya.
Later.